Welcome to GraceBlocks Unlocked, where we'll delve into challenges and unlock solutions for our customers using GraceBlocks. In every episode, we'll bring you a unique story, that customer's challenges, and their path to finding a way. Do you own rental property? And are you using spreadsheets to track your madness? Those year over years of rentals, payments, expenses, cleaning and trash, taxes, etc. We're going to be meeting with Rick Hennessy, owner of a vacation rental property nestled in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Let's watch his journey. So welcome, and tell us what you're thinking about.
Sure, thanks. So I have a spreadsheet, right, which I've been using for many years for a vacation rental property that I own in New Hampshire. And I use it basically to track all the rentals, and there's a lot of aspects to that. I do it all in one spreadsheet, which is nice, but it's pretty manual process, and I don't really have, it's not set up such I can do reporting and things like that. So kind of understanding the basics of GraceBlocks, it looked like it could be a fit for basically to make it more efficient, so that I could actually look at my data in different ways, right? To look at some trends. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for other people. Like a lot of people probably doing what I'm doing. There are services that have much more capabilities, but they're overkill for what I need. And this may be kind of a sweet spot for a bunch of us that are, small vacation homeowners that just want a little help tracking their stuff.
I got your data. You sent me two workbooks. One was for the expenses and one was your rental history. And in each case, there was a tab for each year. All right, so we're gonna create a block. How about Rick's Rentals?
Sure. Oh, let's pick a nice blue there. The dark blue. All right. That's good.
We'll use a house as our.
Yeah.
So let's bring that data into GraceBlocks. I'm gonna add a tab. And I'm going to build this tab by importing a file.
Okay.
And it's called rental data. So we're just going to hit save. And now you've got everything moved over into here.
All right.
I'm going to change these into date fields, right? So you're going to want to go through and make the field the type that aligns with what it is. So this is a date field.
Mm-hmm.
So these have all now been normalized into this date format. We're going to do a formula field, our first formula that's going to interpret this date, put the year in as its own field that then we'll be able to group information by. Add a field and call it year. And the field type we're going to use this time is formula. What we're going to use is a formula called toChar, which is going to take a field and format it a certain way. So we're going to toChar the start date field. So we're going to pick start and then comma, and then we want Y as our format. This page links out to the documentation on formulas.
Okay.
And now we have the year.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Over here in columns, you can choose sorts. So maybe we want to sort these by the start date of the event. So you're always looking at stuff by that. And maybe we also want to group by not the start date, but the year.
Okay.
Now, grouping only applies when looking at data in Quick View. Right now, we've been working in Building View, which is where we build everything.
Mm-hmm.
But Quick View is more the end user's way of looking at things.
Okay.
And you can see here how it grouped by year. And I'll go ahead and collapse these all so you can see now.
Okay.
Everything is grouped by year, and you can see how many rental records you have per year. And if I expand a year and go over and take a look, these columns, it'll auto
sum, or you could say, what's my min value? What's my max? What's my median? What's my range?
So it's a little like having a pivot table built in, automatically generated. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the stuff that you know about a rental at the start.
Yes. The initial would be start, end date. The purpose, guests. Interesting. I don't know why I called it that. But yeah, details. Yeah.
I'm going to save this. And you can, these forms can be inside the system or outside. In this case, we're going to put this one inside. So you've got it as your starting point. And I'm going to make it the public default.
Okay.
And what that means by being the public default, it means that when I click new rental, this is now the form that you'll fill out to add a record, essentially. Since we've now built this, you have an API for all of this data that is here, that is already automatically built. So your rentals tab and all the fields and the documentation of what they look like is all.
Oh, okay.
Nice. All right, we are here with Rick to talk about Rick's Rentals. So, how is it going?
It is going good. Going good. I did make some improvement. I made some changes myself.
Nice.
So like on the entry form, I'm like, I'd really rather have these, and that was really easy. So I went and I made those changes to make it, exactly what I would want for like when I enter a new record. And some of the things though, so I have that list of things in front of me. Need a block that tracks payments for each rental. So in other words, so the way I envision it, at least, is right, each row in this tab, one row, right, is a rental. So what I was thinking of is another tab, that is for each of these rows can have multiple, would have its own rows of when payments are made.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. So I think then what I need to do now, right, is take a look, I do need to look at this a little bit more and then try adding some, I think what I want to do is start adding stuff in, and I think that's when I'll.
All right, we are back with Rick Hennessy to talk about Rick's Rentals and how it's going. So you've been on the system now for a couple of weeks. Tell me how it's going.
It's going great, actually. I mean, we are far beyond where we were last time. So basically, I mean, I kind of told you my plan was to, bring Rick's Rentals, GraceBlocks up to, the current where we're at, and then run in parallel with my spreadsheet for a little bit before switching over. We're all switched over. I mean, we're up, we're switched over, and we're like, oh, now I can do this and I can do this, and I've been making different views to help me depending on what types of thing I'm working on. So yeah, it's been great. I mean, the tool is phenomenal. I mean, I think I mentioned before, I'm like, wow, like every time I go to use a spreadsheet, I'm going to be like, is there any reason not to use GraceBlocks now? Because it's just, I mean, it does all the stuff the spreadsheet does, but you can do so much more with it very quickly that it's like anything that's like a perpetual, like anything I'm doing with Excel, I'm keeping it for a while. I mean, in my head now, I'm thinking like in terms of like tracking finances, personal finances, for tax reasons and everything like that. It's like, it's just easier, right? It's just between the combination of the forms to make it just easier to enter stuff, then you don't have to find stuff. You just, the stuff you need, you just enter things faster. And then and the relational aspect of it, right, makes it just easier to keep good records. The bookmarks, again, I find it really powerful to be able to view your data how you want to see it.
Talk to me about how you're managing your payments in here.
It's working great. As you know, I had some issues with the original data that I had, just a little bit of inconsistency. And I never really had a tracking that told me that the payments that they made actually added up to what I originally charged them in the beginning. And so So, I didn't have paid in full on some users because the data was just either incomplete or in some cases, quite honestly, wrong. So, and using this, you can see now as I go down through, everybody's marked paid in full.
When somebody pays you, how are you tracking that here now?
Click the plus, create a payment, and then just enter in the credit card and all the information. So yeah, I think how I've been doing it. Yeah.
All right, so that adds your payment, and then you've got multiple payment records for each rental. And then
Right.
show me the calculations you've used for
The nuance was getting it so that I had, how much of the payment is going towards rent versus how much is going to New Hampshire. Yeah, so that, basically I created a few of these different ones. So like net income, right, to make sure I'm only including, yeah, so I use this rent payments, right? So this is the payments towards rent specifically, and then I minus towards cleaning, or that I paid for cleaning and trash.
Got it.
Right, because that's a little bit different because, what I pay for cleaning and trash isn't exactly necessarily what they pay, right? Because sometimes it's I collect 150, but the total can actually be a little more than that, right? If for trash plus rental. So, it's this helps me track, so I can keep track both of what did they pay for cleaning and then what were my actual charges.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, show me that pay tracking.
It depends on whether or not it's been 2 weeks out or not, because that's you have to be paid in full within 2 weeks. So we know if they're late payment, so it can indicate whether somebody is a late payment as opposed to just they haven't paid everything, and then not yet paid if it doesn't.
Nice.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's something that doesn't look right, you can dig in and you can pretty easily figure out what went wrong by looking at the clicking over here, and you go into these details, right, and you can see all of the payments and figure out why exactly didn't it match. So that's how I cleaned it up.
Nice.
Is going through that. So that worked great. All right.
Well, thanks for the tour, and I'm so excited that this is working well for you. Keep us posted on your progress.
All right, we'll do. Right. Thanks, Mary Grace.
Thank you. All right, well, visit GraceBlocks.com if you're ready to start building stellar systems quickly yourself. I'm Mary Grace Hennessy, CEO of GraceBlocks. Thank you for joining today's episode of GraceBlocks Unlocked. See you next time.